And welcome guys to another video. Today I'm gonna try to motivate new people or just casual people to try on high-end stuff. Or even find out if high-end stuff is something for you or if it's just not for you and you shouldn't bother about it at all. So yeah, let's jump right into the video. For the first point, to find out if high-end stuff is something for you, you have to find out if you enjoy the big challenge. Do you like making progress on different fights? Or do you just like to jump into a fight, have some fun, and somehow clear it in the end of the day, and then in the future maybe just clear it once again, or just with friends, just for fun? If you like doing progress in fight, learning different mechanics, sometimes just getting frustrated on not knowing how to do the mechanic, or having people in your party that aren't as good, so that you have to be patient and help them. If these points already are something for you, then you probably are into high-end stuff. But there are other things as well that may be a sign that you like high-end stuff. Do you like walking around in Limsa, seeing people with these ultimate weapons or ultimate titles? Okay, not just Limsa, but mostly Limsa. To just think to yourself, I wish I could have that one day. Or do you just think to yourself, these are shiny and nice, but I'll stick to casual stuff, I don't mind this at all. If you feel like showing off would be something for you as well, not in a toxic fashion at all, just for yourself, to show that you can do this, then high-end stuff is something for you as well. So yeah, if you ever thought of trying this, or maybe you were going to try but just anxiety kicked in or something, or you didn't know how to start, this video is for you. I'm gonna try to give you different points on where to start, and I'm gonna try to fight your anxiety with you. So yeah, let's jump right into the first point. The first point would be about, how do I start? Well, there are different high-end duties. There are unreal fights, there are extreme fights, and there are savage fights, and also ultimate fights. The usual order is ultimate fights are the most difficult, then there's savage, and then there's the extreme fight, and the easiest ones are the unreal fights. For this tier, the unreal fight is fairly easy in my opinion. That doesn't mean that you cannot wipe at it at all. It just means that you'll probably learn it easier than you think. I've had different people from my FC, which is by the way a casual FC, who tried to get into high-end stuff, and we got to the first step with Ultima Unreal. So yeah, would I recommend Ultima Unreal for your first high-end duty? Not really. I would recommend something from Shadowbringers or Stormblood. An old extreme fight that you can start doing unsynced, and after doing it unsynced to see how it's like, you can start doing it synced. For this, I would recommend the diamond weapon from Shadowbringers. I know it's the newest trial, but still I think it's the easiest one when it comes to extreme fights. So what do I recommend? There are different guides for this fight. I'll put a guide in the description below that I like myself. So you watch the guide and you jump into a unsynced practice party, meaning you go into the PF and you search for the fight diamond weapon. After that, you put this party as a practice party, and also you type into the description, practice from start, no sword please. You can just copy this picture that I put in here. Alright, after doing that, I would recommend getting a few friends and do that with them. Trust me, the diamond weapon extreme fight is easier than you think. You might hear the name extreme in it, but it's fairly easy. So yeah, you jumped into diamond weapon unsynced in practice, you killed it, and now you jump in it again, but synced. You can also skip the synced part if you don't like the fight too much, and just jump right into Ultima Unreal. For Ultima Unreal, I have to say there are nearly no mechanics at all. I'll put another guide for that in the description as well, if you want to try that. I can give you a few impressions on it. It's like you have two mechanics that you have to think of, just meaning follow the crowd. That's it. You can follow the crowd on the whole thing. Well, on nearly the whole thing, and you can clear it. It's a quick fight, it's pretty forgiving, and yeah, after you watch the guide, I'm sure you can do it. Right. After saying all of this, I'm sure your anxiety won't go away. So yeah, how do I get this anxiety away? For me, the only way to fight your anxiety and just start doing it is doing it with friends. You probably would never join a practice party or a kill party or anything like that on your own. So yeah, the only tip and the only help I can give you is watch as many guides as possible, find some friends, and do it together. Alright, let's say you've done your Ultima Unreal fight. What now? Well, after the Ultima Unreal fight, I would recommend you to go back to Zodiac and Heidelin Extreme and do that first. Why Zodiac and Heidelin and not Enzinger? Well, Zodiac and Heidelin are pretty forgiving by now. You can get hit by a few mechanics that you do wrong, and you would still survive it. Again, I would recommend doing this with a few friends. Or at least one friend. Doing it alone won't make you feel as comfy. You'll be scared that you do mistakes. You'll be scared that if a wipe happens, it's always your fault. So yes, find a few friends and do that. Once you jumped into Zodiac and Heidelin, again, watch the guide. I'll post a guide for these two fights as well that I like as well myself. And yes, once you've done both of these, it's time to jump into Enzinger Extreme. Enzinger Extreme is kinda difficult if you're new to this whole thing, but I'm sure you could do it. There are a few mechanics where I would recommend you to follow the crowd for the beginning, and after a while you can start trying to solve the mechanic on your own. For this fight, I'm mostly talking about the mechanics with the heads. After that, there'll be a few personal mechanics where you have to actually think and do other things than your party members, but that's a good practice for Savage fights. So yeah, after you've done Enzinger Extreme, which you should be really proud of by the way, because it's fairly difficult if you're new, you can try to jump into Savage. Again, you could jump into old Savage fights, but I don't recommend it for this step, because I think that the current Savage tier is pretty good on introducing the Savage tier to new people. Alright, so let's say you jump into your first Savage fight. The fight itself, again, is pretty easy. I think even easier than Enzinger. Why did I recommend to do Enzinger first? Well, Enzinger doesn't have as much personal responsibility, but the focus is more put on getting used to a high speed in a duty and fail and doing small mistakes getting punished. So it's a great opportunity to get used to unforgiving mechanics. In P1S, the fight feels slower than the Enzinger one, but you have more personal responsibility. So after you've done P1S, which is again a big thing, I would again recommend doing it with friends in PF and using the same description that I named earlier. Once you're done with P1S, you go to P2S, and for that fight I would say it's a mixture between Enzinger and P1S. It's pretty quickly and you have as much personal responsibility as in P1S. So yes, jump into a PF group with friends and do that. Let's say after a long time you've cleared P2S and now you think about trying P3S. Okay, from here onwards it gets difficult. P3S and P4S are way more unforgiving and it's kinda difficult. There are people who needed like several weeks to clear both fights. There are other people who cleared it pretty quickly. There are other people who cleared it pretty quickly, but it's just different from one person to another. I could understand it if you wanted to stop at this point after watching the guide for P3S and P4S, but I'm gonna continue for the people who decide to try P3S. Again, if you're with a friend group, it doesn't matter at all. With friends, you can always try. But in the PF, I can understand it if you say P1S and P2S is enough for you and you just wanted to try a Savage tier, and now you've got your impression and maybe it's not for you. But again, let's continue with P3S and P4S. The two different fights are pretty difficult. You have a lot of personal responsibility, and if you do something wrong, you might kill the whole party. Whereas in P1S, you just give people a damage zone, or in P2S, you might kill one more person, which is kinda recoverable. In my opinion, P3S and P4S are fairly similar. P4S just is a bit longer and might have one or two mechanics that are a bit more difficult, but all in all, I would say if you can do P3S, you easily can do P4S as well. It's just a big jump between P2S and P3S. But yes, let's say you've tried it and you maybe succeeded. I'm talking about it as if it's the new DSR Ultimate, but I'm just trying to think of the perspective of a new player. So if you clear it, it's really good. You can do pretty much everything if you clear P3S and P4S. Meaning, if you cleared these two fights, and you can do that on a regular basis, meaning you can just go into the fight, have some wipes, and then clear it eventually over and over again. That means you can easily do the first ultimate. I don't mean to say that you should jump right into your first ultimate. All I want to say is just you can do the weapons refrain, meaning Uwu. From that onwards, it's just personal preference. Do you want to go even harder on yourself? You can go into ultimates. You can try that in a static, which is obviously always recommended. You can try that in PF. By now there are many different PF parties. Or you can maybe just jump into old Savage fights, do them unsynced first, like I said earlier, and into synced, or I don't know, just try different difficult fights. Alright, after I said all of this, after all of these different methods and guides that you've watched, maybe you took a look into this, into that, I need to say, like in my other two videos, don't rush yourself. Let's say you've cleared your first Diamond Weapon Extreme fight. That alone is something that you haven't done before. You haven't tried an extreme fight. So you should be proud of that as a first step. You can take a break after that. You can do some other things and then come back to your next step. And after your next step, which should be Ultima Unreal, you can even jump to the next one and be proud of your accomplishment so far. You shouldn't compare yourself to people who killed Ultimate fights, because most of them have done several Savage raid tiers, are like completely into high-end stuff, and most of them don't even have anxiety, and well, they're just experienced players overall, is what I would say. So yeah, don't compare yourself to other people, don't rush yourself. I'm sure you can do it. I'm sure you can do the old extreme fights. I'm convinced that everyone can do that. I'm convinced that everyone can do Ultima Unreal. I'm even convinced that everyone can do up to P2S. P2S isn't even included. Up to P1S, including P1S. I'm sure that each and everyone can do that if they really want to and if they try. Again, you don't have to do any of this. You can just go back to your casual content. That's completely fine as well. That's why this game has so much variety. It's not for everyone, and that's completely fine as well. I just wanted to try to get new people into high-end stuff who like maybe wanted to try and got scared off by watching guides. It's really not that hard. You can try it. You should try it. It's a lot of fun if you succeed. But yes, thanks so much again for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I will try to do some other things as well in the future, like gameplay wise and not only guides, but I'll stick to some guides as well, because I like to see people, because I like to help people in this sense. I've been in this point as well. I've been scared of trying high and stuff. And well, I'm in a good spot right now. I've tried different things. I've done several raid tiers. I've tried an ultimate, and I have a few friends who have tried high and stuff because of me, and it just felt so good. But yes, again, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, you can like it. If you disliked it, you can dislike it. If you have any feedback, you can drop it in the comments. If I helped you, you can also drop it in the comments. If you have any questions or anything like that, you can let me know in the comments. If you like my content, you can subscribe. And yes, thanks again and see ya.